Hey everybody, this is Beth Helvey with Michael Saunders and Company. I just want to introduce you to Austine Themes right now. And Austine is an insurance broker with Goosehead Insurance. And I'm going to tell you why I like Austine. I've referred him out to a bunch of my clients lately, and this is why. Austine will give you 3 quotes. And your 3 quotes is because you have the same coverage on all of your quotes, but he's giving you 3 options in how to pay for your insurance. So you can do a high annual fee and a low deductible. You can do a high deductible and a low annual fee. And then, of course, there's going to be middle ground. And for a lot of people, these are the options that they need to see on when they plan. So this is Austine. Say hi, Austine.
Hey guys, good
What we're going
morning.
to talk about is insurance in today's world. So are you finding that there's any issues or concerns that people have about insurance right now?
As far as the insurance world and how COVID-19 is truly impacting our industry,
Mhm.
right now, we have felt a little bit of an impact. Carriers are being super responsible in response to COVID-19. A big topic right now is inspections. This is
Oh,
where the inspector will actually come out to your residence, and what they're doing is they're actually issuing an exterior inspection only per request, and then they can postpone the interior inspection at a later time in response to the COVID-19.
interesting. Now, does everybody get an inspection when they get insurance?
Typically not. There are a few companies that do require it.
Mhm.
I don't want to get too far in the weeds about it, but
Right.
I would say for the most part, yes. Yeah.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. Because yeah, you hear about some people have inspections and some people don't. So they're just doing a drive-by now, and then they're going to come back and do it. So your insurance is still protected and covered.
You're still covered. There's no stipulations or penalties to it.
Okay.
This is just in response to the global outbreak of COVID-19.
Absolutely. Good. So for people who don't know this, if you are buying your property with a loan, if you want to close on your house, you have to have insurance. That is not a real estate rule. That is not an insurance rule. That is not a state rule. That is your lender. Every single lender in the country will demand that you have insurance. Now, here's the catch. If you don't get insurance, they'll get it for you and you're going to pay out the nose. So you're better off doing this. And when people come to you for insurance, at what point in the transaction should they be coming to you to talk about insurance, or any insurance person for that matter?
Typically, we see it in all different stages,
Mhm.
but we always do prefer, and the lenders typically are pretty good about it and awesome with communication, because that is a key piece of the puzzle to closing on your home is the
Mhm.
homeowner's insurance.
Mhm.
Always get a quick jump on it and anticipate it. And the good thing about that is it's not a rush process. We can customize and pressure test a policy to fit your needs. And then in the meantime, if anything needs to change prior to closing, we can go ahead and make that change with no issues.
So do they have to pay for their insurance up front when they get that from you for
They
closing?
don't. As
Mhm.
long as the lender mandates that the insurance and taxes will be escrowed,
Mhm.
and that typically is if you put less than 20% down on your loan, then it's mandatory to escrow taxes and insurance. Upon that, what we do on our back end, and I do, is I take care of all the back work and I fulfill your lender with all the required documents and get you all set up for closing.
Excellent.
Nothing to do on your end, and it makes it a really seamless process.
Great. And part of the reason we're bringing this up is we have 2 months left until we hit hurricane season.
June
And
1st.
I know, right? June 1st. So, and that's a big deal. And that is something that is particular to the state of Florida and maybe some of our other states on the other coast. That you could probably speak better than that than I could. But you have to have insurance to close on your property if you're getting a loan. And if there is a named storm, and I don't remember how close it needs to be, but you all shut down and don't issue insurance.
Yes, you're exactly right, Beth.
Mhm.
As soon as that named storm pops up on whatever coast or wherever it's forming at,
Mhm.
typically we start to get notifications from the carriers mandating that they are no longer accepting policies to be bound.
Mhm.
So in the event of a named storm, and it's really all dependent per carrier, some wait till the last minute.
Mhm.
Typically about 2 to 3 days before landfall, that's when we start to see a total shutdown. And this also even sometimes relates into auto carriers as well. You
Hmm.
know, it's not always a home that gets damaged from the storm. Keep
Yeah.
in mind, autos are exposed to this risk as well.
Hmm. Okay. So then what we do is we recommend that people in hurricane season shop for insurance a lot sooner than you normally would. Because I think in other parts of the country, people will probably call you like the week before closing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know.
Typically, if there's a named storm out there and if that carrier is not shut down yet, keep in
Mhm.
mind though, the carriers that are open, they may not be providing the best rate for you. So
Yeah.
that's why you really want to get a jump start on homeowners insurance
Yeah.
going into this season.
Now, as someone in the insurance industry, when someone calls you to get insurance, about how many companies are you talking to try to get them the best coverage for what their needs are? How
That's
many?
a great
Hmm?
that's a great question, Beth.
Thank you.
So essentially, the the process that I've formulated is pretty seamless. I take down a few bits of information about you, and we have access to every carrier across the state, whether it be if you have a older roof, a coastal construction, maybe an older frame home on stilts. We
Hmm.
can still find you a policy. So don't ever hesitate to reach out. You know, we have seen all types of construction, dome houses, stilt homes, historic homes.
Hmm.
We can definitely help you out.
Good, good. Now, flood insurance. Does everybody in the state of Florida have to have flood insurance?
That's another great question. So, going into hurricane season, um, we deal with a couple stipulations with flood insurance.
Mhm.
Um, if you're getting a loan on a home and you are located in an AE flood zone,
Mhm.
you will be required to have flood insurance for your property. Typically, the lender finds this out very early upon running a research. We also, on our back end, we run a FEMA flood zone report through
Mhm.
Homeland Security and provide that documentation as well, just to validate it.
Right.
Um, Now, there is the preferred zone, the low risk zone. Now,
Yeah.
with this zone, it's actually, we start to see a lot of people pick up on this because the cost and premium to the ample amount of coverage that you obtain it's absolutely extraordinary.
Mm.
So, and it's actually typically it's right now they're running for a low risk zone. This would be an X zone
Right.
at $516, and you get $250,000 in building coverage and $100,000 in contents. So it's actually a really good deal.
So exactly what does flood insurance cover? I mean, what has to happen to your house in order for the flood insurance part of your policy to kick in? I mean, does your roof have to come up? Is it rising waters? Is it a burst pipe? What is flood insurance?
That's another great question. So we have a couple good scenarios that you just laid out on the table. So flood is determined by rising waters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, if a pipe does break in your house, this would be considered an instant accident, and
Hmm.
that would go under a water damage claim.
Okay.
Flood is determined by rising waters, whether it be a pond behind your house, coastal waters, whether it be the Gulf of Mexico, or if you have a big lake centered in the middle of your neighborhood.
It's not just the ocean. Yep.
It's not just the ocean,
Yeah.
it's rising groundwaters. That's how they determine it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have a lot of water in Florida. It's not just beaches and oceans. I've got water behind me. So, okay. And and then depending on what your risk is and your floodplain and that sort of thing depends on how much you're going to pay for that particular flood insurance.
That's correct.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, we see it all the time since we do have access to the private flood market.
Mhm.
And sometimes what we do is what I always do is I shop both markets. If
Mhm.
you currently do not have an elevation certificate and you are in an AE zone, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the market. And if that rate is actually super competitive, let's say in an AE zone, on average, it ranges from about $1,000 to $2,000 over an annual course.
Okay.
If it looks pretty competitive and you don't want to go ahead and issue an elevation certificate, or if the previous owner does not have one on file, those typically range from about $200 to $400, all dependent on the surveying company.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
you can often get them done, and you have to have a survey when you get a loan, unless there is a recent enough one done that the seller can provide for you, because we don't file our surveys with any sort of tax title institution, government institution. They're all private.
that's completely correct.
Yeah, it's not something we can research. Okay.
Mhm.
Good. So, in respect to back to the COVID-19 stuff, what are you all doing to provide services to people in this day and age of COVID-19? How is your company providing services to observe what we need to do to maintain social distancing?
So we've actually had a great email blast that went out from our corporate team last night.
Huh?
And as far as service to our clients and service on our end, we have seen close to zero to no impact.
Oh,
No
wow.
impact
Awesome.
on our service and our service team.
Hmm.
Our phones are always picked up.
Hmm.
Emails are always returned. We do work late nights, so we don't always work till 5.
And you've called me on weekends. Yeah.
I do work weekends as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Good. Well, great. I think we've covered a lot, and we may come back and do this again. I appreciate your time with this. So if any of you have any questions about insurance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put Austin's contact information in the comments, and you can reach out to him directly and ask him anything you'd ask. If you have an insurance policy that you're thinking about changing, if you have an insurance policy and you like a comparative rate, he's happy to do that. Because insurance is shoppable. This is not something, this is not a blanket thing that everybody gets. It's not the same rate for everybody. It's not the same coverage for everybody. I can speak from personal experience because I had a policy several years ago that was lousy and I didn't realize how bad it was until I had to use it. So make sure you understand what you're doing. So, but thank you for doing this, and thank you for making time. I really appreciate it.
you're welcome, Beth. I appreciate you having me on. And we covered some really great material today. And I actually do look forward to doing another overcast of how COVID-19 is impacting our daily lives.
I think we should. We should do that. And then when we get into hurricane season, we'll do another one because that's always
Oh,
interesting.
that one will be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Have a great day. Bye now.
All right. Bye, guys. Have a great day.